All right, this is a real treat to get to share this story with you today. We're going to be talking about some work that's happening with geospatial data and how that's being used to really create a positive social impact within communities. So a very timely topic and one that I think is really important for everybody to be thinking about. Alejandro is spearheading this work. So he's the head of innovation at a company called YemeTech. And here's where he's really going on this journey with his colleagues to think about our communities in a way that I think is very novel and something that it's really exciting to hear about. So I lead the data operations at a company called Dataplor. We're a location intelligence company. And what we do is really provide that data. So we are working hard to make sure that journeys and missions like Alejandro have can really be served and make sure we're moving forward. Just a brief background on Dataplor. So again, it's a location intelligence company. We have 200 complete markets, so we're really a global company. And in that data space, we have over 200 million places that we've actually observed. So our focus is really on all of the global data, as you see there. And with that, I think as we've heard in other talks today, once you start getting to that volume of data and global data, you run into all kinds of funky issues in the places that you observe. So a large part of what I do and what we do at Dataplor is make sure that that data is clean and high quality and can get to you as quickly as possible. So we range from shipping data every week that gets reviewed and shipped every week, to monthly, to quarterly, whatever our clients need. So in that, it's a dynamic process, so there's data that's constantly coming in, so we're constantly making observations. And in our software and technology that we have, any that can't be resolved with confidence by computers actually go to human reviewers. So we have a process that allows all of these decisions that can't be resolved easily, that do need to go to humans to have that extra discrimination, can go there, get cleaned before they get shipped out. So we have this dynamically updated data, we have human in the loops, and with that, then we're always learning from our human validators and continuing to build on our technology so it continues to improve. That data then, that's what I obsess about, but it's always a pleasure to actually get to hear how people are using it. And so that's why we invited Alejandro here, so that we can share a little bit more about how this data is being used. So Alejandro, I'll hand it over to you if you could share a little bit about YemeTech and this journey that you guys are on.
Thanks, Beth, and thanks everyone for joining us here for hear our story. So if I had to put it on simple words, what we do, it's about building community fulfillment. It's much more complex than that, but that's the way I would put it. It's the ambition to deliver a positive social impact in our communities. And we might all agree that we are living extraordinary times, probably historical in terms of technology, the rise of AI, ChatGPT, virtual experiences, etc. But we've also experienced as a society the highest levels of anxiety, depression, loneliness, and social isolation. And that's just been exacerbated by the pandemic. So the reason I'm saying that is like the way the angle we come from is how we can use a responsible use of technology, how we can enable the social interaction through geospatial data to sort of increase the sense of belonging, of identity in our communities, and sort of ultimately be enablers of that change. The way sometimes we call it sort of, we like to use the word of humanizing that data.
Great, thank you. So I know going into all this work that you guys are doing, there's a lot of considerations that you had to make in getting set up. Can you share some of those things that you had to think about?
Yeah, of course. So early in our journey about creating, sort of trying to understand how we can create healthier, more fulfilling communities, we soon realized that we needed POI data because that will give us will help us understand to gain knowledge about the existing communities, the gaps in provision, accessibility to services, how diverse are those services. And at first, we were all facing all kinds of challenges. We were relying on some open data sources or other providers. Data wasn't accurate, it was fragmented, it was incomplete. So we sort of found the perfect partner with Dataplor because it was providing a solution that was fit for the purpose, because it will allow us to really focus on the social application, on those actionable insights of what we can do with that data, which is what really mattered to us. And well, on top of that, it was, they were providing a data that was, that had a consistent data schema. So I like to say that we have, having a borderless data, because it will allow us to have the power to apply that approach anywhere without really, being changed by following our current data infrastructure, let's say.
I love that, borderless data. That's a good one. Can you tell us then about some of the accomplishments that you've had so far with this work?
Yeah, I think the journey we're in, we are trying to accomplish something quite profound, which is meaningful, globally significant, which is the empowerment, the engagement, the integration of communities. And so far, I would say that we've done that in two different ways. So we've created our own geospatial dashboard, a platform that we call of social fulfillment analysis, around the idea of the 15-minute cities, of course, that consider different kind of parameters. We sort of like to call it the 3P. We consider people, place, and purpose, where we use data plus data. And we sort of, assess which are the gaps in provision, how we can improve those, which are the stakeholders in the area that can facilitate that and channel that change, and how that can serve to coordinate and propose action to improve all urban context. Another area we'll be using is on some of our consultancy projects, which, just to name a few, we are currently working to build a digital inclusion index for Bradford up north. And we are identifying, in another example, we identify where community engagement consultation should take place, because thanks to that POI data, we were able to distribute and sort of target better where the public consultation should take place. And in another example, we sort of correlate some of the POI data, the businesses, to carbon emission sector. So that allows us to have an overview of, within the city, which areas were contributing majorly to the carbon emissions. So that's just a few of the samples.
That's great, thank you. So we're, with all of these accomplishments now, this is more of a journey, not a one-time project, so you're really getting all this data set up so that you can continue to make a change. What sort of things are you thinking about for the future?
Yeah, well, I think just reiterating the POI, it forms the basis of our geospatial analysis together with other data sets, and it will continue being like that. What we want to do is to create a more comprehensive, more impactful social metrics, and we essentially want to make it accessible for all. So this is the dashboard we are developing, and we want to make this usable for anyone. So just people outside the realm of geospatial, of mapping, is able to sort of get some insights and bring some impact, some real impact, something that they can do about it in their communities. Another couple of things we are researching and working with is simulating the performance driven by future interventions. So how can we evaluate the social makeup that certain interventions such as a master plan or certain development it can bring in an area to make more informed decisions? Or another piece of work is we're trying to come up with the ESG reporting metric, because we've seen out there there's tons of environmental ESG metric reporting tools and platforms, but there's none on the social. So how we can empower those small businesses to do good? How can we, again, using that bottom-up approach, instead of that top-down, led by the council top-down approach, because we really believe that if that comes from the community itself, from the stakeholders, small businesses, it's essentially going to have a more lasting and meaningful impact in our communities and in our cities.
Thank you for sharing all that work. I hope that's just scratching the surface. If you get a chance to find Alejandro and talk to him some more about this, there's a lot more that goes into it, and it's a great story, and I think will benefit all of our communities. So thank you.
So do you have any questions in the audience at all? Any hands up for any questions? I think we've got one just here. Thanks, Daria.
Hi, I'm working in actually real estate area. So you mentioned obviously creating different areas of communities and how you kind of creating different places. How do you go about areas don't really exist yet, so things that are being planned, and how do you go about the master plan areas where new streets are being built, etc.?
Thanks. That's a tough one. So I didn't mention, but most of us we are architects, so we have that understanding of how cities are designed, how people live, etc. In terms of that question, we've actually been exploring in some other countries, like for example, recently we were actually to Dubai and we were exploring, that's something completely new that's going to come here. How can you create a community that is fulfilling without having anything there yet? And I think the approach we're taking is more towards the more, Western cities where we have something to touch upon and to continue working towards that. I think that's going to be a real challenge. And honestly, I think that social awareness, that sense of belonging, of identity, when it comes to completely new places in the middle of the desert, I think that's going to be a real challenge. I honestly don't see that going forward successfully in that sense. Although I might be wrong. I don't know. I think I didn't answer your question, but I'll keep thinking about it.
Any other questions in the audience? If not, I think you guys are here for the rest of the day, so they can catch up over coffee. Awesome. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.